What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope everyone is doing phenomenal tonight. Hope you guys have had a great Monday. We have got Monday Night Football wrapping up. We've got a close one between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles coming down to the wire here. The Commanders came to play. I know this game had a lot of deciding indicators for a lot of your fantasy matchups, so we're going to wrap up week 10. Hang out with you guys while we watch the last 2 minutes of this game, and on top of that, week 10 is over in about next 5 minutes or so. So you guys know what time it is, baby. Time for some live week 11 fantasy Q and A. So hop in the live chat, let me know what you guys need, let me know how week 10 went for you guys. Gonna hang out for a little bit here like I usually do on Monday nights. Check in with you guys. See how week 10 went for you guys. See how your guys' season is going overall. But outside of that, start, sits, add, drops, waiver wire priorities. Whatever you guys need, hop in the live chat. Let's get it popping. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. Hit that like button on the way in. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you are new to the channel. And hop in the live chat, like I said. Let's get it popping. Let me know, did you guys win in week 10? Did you guys lose? I had some close matchups that came down to this Eagles-Commanders game. Give me one win, give me one loss. I had a rough week. A rough week of fantasy this week. But overall, week 10 was a good week, man. We saw some good matchups this week. So we got a lot to go over tonight. So I'll let you guys kind of roll in here, and then we'll get it going. So I'm going to try and pay attention to the game as well. So, all right, Real Goated, what's up, man? How are you doing? Great to have you in the house. What's up? What's up? Appreciate you being here. Mr. Sarcastic says, go Commanders. Hey, man, they came and played tonight. I mean, this game has been crazy. On top of that, I mean, that Quez Watkins fumble was just ridiculous. The Dallas Goedert missed face mask call. I mean, the Eagles have had a lot taken away from them in this game. So we got a 1st and 10 for the Commanders. This is really the Eagles' final shot here. They've got 3 timeouts, so we'll see what happens here. First down is a pitch to Brian Robinson. He is going to be met after a gain of maybe 1. All right, Jason in the house. What's good, bro? What up? What up? Appreciate you being here, man. Rio Goated, I'm so mad. I need A.J. Brown to get just one more catch. No way, man. No way. Yeah, a lot of close indications tonight for a lot of you guys. I know that. Oh, I missed. Oh, second down hasn't happened yet because we got a timeout. Okay. I'm trying to switch between everything here. All right, let's see here. Isaiah Pacheco, a good start in week 11 with Kenneth Walker out. Yeah, I mean, if you have to go with Isaiah P, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it, but I wouldn't expect a huge... It's just hard to get a read because, like, so far in the season, the Chargers have not played well against the run as Brian Robinson picks up about 3 yards or so here. But they played pretty well against the Niners, all things considered. At the end of the day, we still saw a pretty good fantasy day for Christian McCaffrey, who found the end zone. And then Eli Mitchell got a lot of touches because that's what Kyle Shanahan does as a head coach. He had 89 yards on the ground. So really, the Chargers didn't play that well. They looked better than they usually do. So, yeah, give me Isaiah P in week 11. Why not? Bryce Connor over Sanders. Well, you know, Benjamin got released today, and Connor has looked good in his return, regardless of if Kyler Murray is playing quarterback or not. So, I mean, 11.4 in week 9, 23.6 in week 10 against a Rams unit that plays pretty well against opposing running backs, and he only had 3 receptions in that game. So it's not like he was getting it all done through the air or anything. Heineke drops back on 3rd down. Pressure. He falls on his knee. Oh, and they throw the flag? Oh, come on. No way. I don't know who number 7 is, but basically trying to ensure that Heineke was down, or was that Graham? And they're going to call him for roughing the passer. I swear the league is rigged. I swear this is all Vegas right here. Oh, come on. No, that's gross. That's just gross, man. All right, let's see the replay. Heineke Okay, he went down on his knee. I thought he fell. Then Hassan Reddick and Graham are coming in, trying to ensure that he's down. They put the flag on Graham because Reddick already hit him. Oh, come on. That is disgusting. That's got to be one of the worst. I mean, I guess it's within the rules now. But that's... Why is Taylor Heineke so happy about that? And the Washington Commanders handed off to Brian Robinson. Wow, that might be game. That's got to be one of the grossest things I've ever seen. All right. Bryce, I like both. Don't get me wrong. I still believe in Miles Sanders on the season by all means. He didn't really, do anything tonight. 5.4 fantasy points. But I still believe in him on the season. I do. But, yeah, I think Connor holds a little bit more upside right now. And the Cardinals are going to be in a lot of games where they're playing from behind, which I feel like does benefit Connor because he's a player who gets a lot of dump-offs. So, very close there. Very close there. A.J. Brown told me he lost by 0.5. Yeah, he did nothing tonight. What did he have? One catch? One catch, 4 targets, 7 receiving yards, 1.7 fantasy points in PPR. I'm sure you came into the night feeling pretty confident. What a game here. What a game. I mean, don't you just want to see the Eagles get another shot at a drive there? That's gross. Turning that off. All right. All right. Week 10 wraps up with the Commanders over the Eagles. Jeez. All right. Garrett Wilson or DK rest of season? I go DK. Yeah, I'm going with DK Metcalf. And I like Garrett Wilson a lot. Metcalf is your wide receiver 16 in fantasy, full PPR. Metcalf just extremely consistent. I know he's had, 4 games with single-digit fantasy points, but it's close. But the way I look at it is Seattle is going to throw the football and be in more game scripts where they are going to have to throw the football. They're going to run the football plenty, don't get me wrong, but the heart and soul, the bread and butter of the Jets offense is to run the football 100%. So Metcalf after the bye week gets Las Vegas, the Rams, Carolina, San Francisco, Kansas City, and the Jets to finish out the year. Pretty favorable schedule overall. Garrett Wilson on the other hand, New England, Chicago, Minnesota, Buffalo, Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. Definitely some favorable matchups in there, but New England, Buffalo, it's pretty favorable overall, actually. But so definitely close. But it comes down to the two offenses for me, and I rather have Metcalf. But very close, very close. Elver traded Aaron Jones and Taysom Hill for Mark Andrews, standard league. Other running backs are ETN, JT, Pierce, Kamara. Yeah, you're just fine. Just fine, Elver. Good upgrade at tight end. Running backs are loaded. I mean, in standard league, you want to be loaded at running backs. And even losing Aaron Jones, you have 4 studs, so you're good to go, man. Good upgrade for you. Bryce from Maryland, a Ravens fan, but Redskins will ever be my second team. Go Commanders. Yeah. I grew up in the D.C. area. Steven and I both did. So we both grew up Washington fans, and we've both egregiously left the team since. But if Dan Snyder does sell the team, I'll root for Washington again. Yeah, the missed face mask was awful, J-Dubs. Just awful. Awful. Jason improved a 5-5 matchup against other 5-5 team next week. Winner most likely makes playoffs. Pray for me, boy. Absolutely crossing our fingers for you, my guy. Bryce, I should get Connor in the trade even if I have Hollywood. I don't have a problem with that. Thanks for the scary Terry suggestion for the week, although Devonta still had a nice week too. Yeah, Devonta Smith stepped it up on his birthday for sure, and you could kind of tell that felt like the Eagles wanted to get him a touchdown. He had a nice week. I actually started him in 2 leagues this week. I just had that feeling he was due for a good game. His best game of the season was against Washington in week 3. But he's your upside play, right? He's your ceiling play where if it was between him and Scary Terry, McLaurin was the floor play, and McLaurin had a better game overall at 128 receiving yards, 8 receptions, 20.8 fantasy points. But Smith still had a good game. But I'm glad it worked out in your favor, Ghost Hunter. Hollywood or Evans? I mean, if you need to win now, Evans. If you can sit back and cruise a little bit, then Hollywood. But if you need to win now, Evans. You're still having a perfectly fine year. Richie, I took some L's too, my dude. Took some L's as well, man. Sarcastic says Eagles are bums. They'll be fine. They'll bounce back. They'll be just fine. 8-2 in one league, $600 league, 6-4 in the $400 league. Happy about it. Let's go, Bryce. Let's go. 3-2 on the week. Great job, refs. Yeah, there's some questionable things in that game. Questionable things in that game. Eagles shot themselves in the foot. I mean, there were definitely mistakes, and that's the thing. Like, ultimately, no matter what, the Eagles didn't play a good enough game, right? But at the end of the day, you have to imagine that there are some bad calls in this game, and the worst has to be, the blatant face mask on Dallas Goedert that was not called. That's easily the worst. I mean, the thing at the end, you can call that on Graham, I guess. That's within the rules, but it's still like, I don't know. Tough game, man. And the Watkins, the Quez Watkins fumble was huge. You know, maybe you just stay down. You know, but yeah, those three things, I should say, are really the two things: the face mask and the Watkins fumble. Just awful, man. Derek, this season has been brutal. 4 out of 5 games I lost, I've scored the second most points in the league, but played the team that scored the most. That is just extremely unlucky, man. Just extreme unluck. Nothing he can do about it. I hate to see that, my guy. How do you feel about trading Kamara for Waddle? Richie, it depends on the rest of your roster. But I don't have a problem with it. I mean, you're getting, Kamara's coming in. I mean, he's missed a couple games, so it's hard to look at rankings, you know. But Kamara's RB13. He's missed 2 games on the season. He's been playing down as of late. 3 tough matchups in a row for Kamara. The Rams, San Francisco, and Tampa Bay. Then a bye week. A pretty favorable playoff schedule. Atlanta, Cleveland, Philly, pretty tough. But they've been kind of trending downward against the run as of late. But if you're going out and you're getting Waddle, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest. I mean, it always depends on the rest of your roster, but at the end of the day, Waddle is your wide receiver 6, coming off a 10.6 fantasy performance. A game where if he had 3 more yards, I would have won some money on Underdog, but it's okay. I'm not mad at you, Jalen, but I am kind of mad. But besides the point, I don't think it's a bad trade, but depends on what it leaves you with at the running back position. Football Talks, what's going on? Hello. Jason, what team wins next week? Allen, Foreman, Sanders, Brown, Cooper, Everett, Meyer, Bills, or Burrow, Mixon, Eckler, D-Hop, St. Brown, Andrews, Higgins, Bucker, and the Pats defense. Both have a chance here, don't get me wrong, but I kind of like the second team. I think ultimately what it depends on here is, do the Bengals have a good day overall, or do they kind of have a fluke game against the Steelers? Because we've seen that happen before, and Watt is back out on the field. So that's going to be ultimately what decides this matchup in my eyes. So both teams have a shot, but I do kind of, off the top of my head, I kind of lean with the second team there. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is back, 11 points in Week 10. It's just crazy. I mean, and even Fitzpatrick didn't play, right? But it's just crazy how different this team is at the end of the day when Watt's on the field. They get Cincinnati, not a great matchup, but then they get Indianapolis and Atlanta. Pretty decent matchups there, although Indy looks to be humming. Baltimore, Carolina, Las Vegas, and Baltimore again. So some good matchups for the Pittsburgh Steelers if you're desperate at a streaming defense. Let's see here. Trade Barkley, Olave, Goddard for CMC, Lamb, Schultz, and Deshaun Watson, full PPR. Well, Football Talks, it depends on what you need right now. I mean, Barkley versus CMC, very close. And I mean very close. McCaffrey is your RB2, 17.7 points in Week 10. On the other hand, Barkley comes in as your RB3, 23 fantasy points in Week 10. He gets Detroit, Dallas, Washington, Philly, Washington, Minnesota, Indy to finish the year, but I don't know if it really matters with matchups here. CMC gets Arizona, New Orleans, Miami, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas. I mean, you're going to start either of these guys. It's pretty close overall as well there. I mean, you can't go wrong with either guy here. Olave versus Lamb. Lamb's tends to be trending upward at the moment, bring a little bit more upside, but they both bring a significantly safe floors. Goddard got a little banged up there. I don't have an update on Goddard, but he got a little banged up. We'll have to see if that's a serious injury. He was able to walk off the field, so I don't necessarily think it was. But Schultz had 17.4 fantasy points in Week 10, a touchdown, 54 receiving yards off of 6 receptions. So we've kind of talked about this the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? Like when Prescott comes back, Schultz is going to trend upward. 9.9 points in Week 7, 13.4 in Week 8, 17.4 in Week 10. He gets Minnesota, the Giants, the Colts, Houston, Jacksonville, Philly, Tennessee to finish out the year in terms of fantasy. So close there. If Goddard's hurt, because Goddard's played phenomenal in the year, then, I mean, the upside lies with Schultz, obviously. And then do you need Deshaun Watson, I guess, is the deciding factor. I mean, this is a very, very safe overall, or pretty, not safe, but very, very even trade at the end of the day. But you might get a little bit more upside in Schultz. You might get a little bit more upside in Lamb. And if you need Deshaun Watson, if you're hurting at quarterback, not that I think, or not that we know that Watson is going to be immediate plug-in in fantasy, it's a good trade. So let me know what you think, bro. J-Dub still 10-0. Let's go. Love to see it. Killing it. Gabe Davis or Christian Watson this week? You know, I like Christian Watson. I think he's worth picking up for sure, but I'm a little bit torn here. He's dealing with an ankle injury as of 3 hours ago. Well, that's news to me. How consistent is Watson going to be is what we got to figure out. I mean, we know that Romeo Doubs is not going to play, more than likely, or at least very unlikely that he plays in Week 11, but it's a good matchup. Tennessee's secondary has not played well. So I like him, but he's still a flex play, still an upside play, you know? But at the same time, who else is a flex play that brings risk, a boom or bust play on a weekly basis? Gabe Davis. So 21.3 fantasy points in Week 10 for Gabe Davis, 93 receiving yards and a touchdown. He gets Cleveland in Week 11. Should be a good game script. I feel like the safer play is Gabe Davis, but they're both worth a look. But I'd probably roll with Gabe Davis. Albert, what's going on? J-Dub, CD Lamb over Hopkins. You're welcome. Singletary worth a regular start from here on out. I mean, you can always start Singleberries, but at the end of the day, I just don't know if there's a consistent ceiling. Like, he scored 2 touchdowns in Week 10, right? 47 yards on the ground. He had a reception that went for 0 yards, but that's still technically a point in PPR. But I don't know. I mean, he gets Cleveland in Week 11 and Detroit in Week 12. Those matchups are very good. But Singletary is always going to be a running back for me that is in the flex, because you just don't get those consistent ceilings on a week-out, week basis. Like 24.1 points in Week 3, 11.6 in Week 4, 5.6 in Week 5, 14.7 in Week 6, and then 9.3 in Week 8, 8.8 in Week 9, before he had 15.7 in Week 10. So he's the running back to own in this backfield, don't get me wrong. James Cook had 5 touches for 22 yards on the ground. Naheem Hines had 1 target, 1 reception. Not sure why the Bills traded for him, because they are not utilizing him at all. But, I mean, you're going to start a Bills running back at Singletary. From here on out, I'm not quite sure. He gets New England in Week 13, the Jets in Week 14, Miami, Chicago, Cincinnati. A pretty decent playoff schedule, but he's a fine flex, but you just have to be prepared that he's not going to hit that ceiling on a weekly basis. J-Dubs, on a good note, that means Eagles may not start resting their players in Week 17. That's true. That's true. Cole Kmet or Higbee rest season. Cup going down. He's literally the only target. That's a good point, Bryce, but I go Cole Kmet right now. I'm riding that wave of the Bears offense. I don't want to get off it, man. Give me Cole Kmet. Far more upside, in my opinion. How did Higbee finish in Week 10 statistically? 15.3 points. Let's go. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 73 receiving yards. Nice. I had him as a bounce back. But part of the reason I had him bouncing back this week was because Arizona's second worst team in the league against the tight end position going into Week 10. So Wow, that bumped him all the way up to tight end 7. Let's go, Tyler Higbee. Yeah, I still go Cole Kmet. I'm not sure about this Eagles defense without Jordan Davis is a huge loss. Huge loss. They are definitely trending slightly downward overall. But they'll be fine. That secondary is still very good. But they did lose a key aspect of the run defense for sure. For now. But they'll be fine. I mean, it's one loss. It's one loss. I think the Eagles are going to be just fine. But that division, pretty tough right now, man. Catch, I just won in fantasy because McLaurin outscored Brown and Smith. Let's go, let's go. Love to see it. What's up, Prey? Rondell Moore, the biggest beneficiary with Ertz out for the rest of the season. Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's a big loss with Zach Ertz going down too, man. Losing some of these tight ends. Goddard got a little banged up tonight. Ertz is out for the season. I mean, those are two guys in the top 5. Not that we have a clear update on Goddard. He could be good to go, I mean, next week. But we'll just have to keep an eye, man. Pick 2 out of Watson, Paris Campbell, and Gus. What I would do, being that you need a running back and a receiver, Prey, is I would put in a waiver for Gus, and then a second waiver for Watson, a third waiver for Paris. I mean, really, I don't know. In terms of consistency, I might go Paris Campbell over Watson, but we just don't have a large enough sample size on Watson. But drop one player for Gus, drop a second player for Paris, then drop that same second player for Christian Watson. You know what I'm saying? Kenny Pickett, a good streaming pickup against the Bengals. Ooh. Could get dicey. Get dicey for sure. And we don't have a ton of options at this quarterback position to stream, but we'll see what happens. Glad I had a big enough lead that I didn't need any points from A.J. Brown tonight. Yeah, I'm glad for you too, bro. For sure. Pickett has a nice schedule for matchups too. Could be interesting. Let's take a look. J-Dubs. What we got? Yeah, 19 points in Week 10 was a high on the season for him. 199 passing yards, 51 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. He gets Cincy, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, Las Vegas, Baltimore to finish out the year. Pretty favorable matchups there. Cincinnati, not a great matchup. Cincinnati's played well against the quarterback position on the season, but I mean, I think Baltimore is going to wrap up the season quite nicely on defense, but they have had issues as well. But the Colts, still a question mark. Team that could start to solidify themselves in the second half of the season, but Atlanta, Las Vegas, Carolina, there's definitely some good matchups in there for sure. And even those teams like Baltimore and the Colts who have, and even Cincinnati at times, who have played, pretty well defensively, kind of middle of the pack, they have weeks where they're a little bit more loose. Derek, what's up, bro? How'd I lose Goddard and Ertz in the same week? Team IR in full effect. I'm cursed. Jeez, man. Jeez. That's rough. I'm sorry to hear it, Derek. What's up, bro? How are you doing, man? Rio Goda lost by 0.4. Jeez. Some tough matchups I've seen so far this week. J-Dubs, I had Samuel, AJ Brown, and Eagles going one by 0.4. No way. One of you guys loses by 0.4. The other wins by 0.4. Ravi, I'm 4-6. My team is Kyler, ETN, Jeff Wilson, J-Rob, Rashad White, I should say. D-Hop, Juju, Gabe, Pickens. Do I trade Hop and ETN for Henry in full PPR? I don't know that I would, to be honest, because then you're going to lose a starting receiver. That's going to leave you with Juju, Gabe, and Pickens. You gain Henry, but you also lose ETN. I wouldn't do the trade. I think it hurts your roster. Get that you're 4-6. Really need to start scraping out some wins to make your playoff push, but I wouldn't do this trade personally, Robbie. Anthony, big Vikings win. What a phenomenal game that was. Vikings, Bills, best game of the year, right? Hands down. I don't think we've seen any better game. That catch by Justin Jefferson was just stupid. Eugene nearly lost this week, taking your advice to keep Tony on the bench, hitting on to 7-3. Playoffs locked. And yeah, I'm officially off of the Kadarius Tony hate train. I wanted a larger sample size of him with the Chiefs. I wanted to see some production first. And I mean, you know, look at the week before, we didn't get production. So I just wanted to see it happen first. But I did say throughout the week it's a good matchup. He holds some upside as well. But I'm glad you still got the win. I think Tony next week is actually a player that I think could be in line for a pretty nice stat line overall, because we're probably going to have Juju Smith-Schuster out, and we don't know the status of McCole Hardman as well. Anthony, what we got here, bro? Traded Dalvin Cook and T. Higgins for CMC in a PPR fantasy league. Is that good for me? Is also a keeper league. Yeah, you got CMC. So, I mean, it's fair value for CMC. As long as it didn't hurt the rest of your roster, I'm not against it. And you got CMC in a keeper league, so I don't have a problem with it, bro. Good trade. Dalvin Cook coming off a big game. Catch, should I just go ahead and drop Ertz? He said he's getting a second opinion. You could probably drop him. Legacy, thoughts on giving away Chase and Kamara for CMC and Higgins or Evans? If you need to win now, I would do this trade. You know, if you don't need to win now, I would still definitely consider this trade. But I would go for I'll go for CMC and Higgins personally, but still close. Yeah, I would do this trade. Boba Fett, what's up, man? Mahomes, Sasha Monroe, or Deshaun Watson Chase? Not even close for me, Mahomes. We don't have any sample size to go off for Deshaun Watson, right? We're going off of pure assumptions, and I think he'll be just fine, but he's not going to be at a Mahomes level right away. So give me Mahomes all day right now. All day. Quarterback number 2 in fantasy at the moment. Just barely outpacing Josh Allen here. So Mahomes has scored 240.94 fantasy points. Josh Allen has scored 241.92. They're less than 2 points away from each other. I keep Mahomes, especially if you need to win now. You know, even in non-PPR, give me a Monroe. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Chase is healthy, I'm going Chase. But, yeah, give me Mahomes. That fumble made me sweat by Goddard, but I won by 1.2. Let's go. Richie, just in case Goddard is out, would you stream Greg Dulcich and Njoku, Moreau, Hurst, or Knox? So Greg Dulcich had a really disappointing week. We liked him a lot going into week 10. But he still overall saw enough. I mean, it's just tough, man. I think I read like a crazy stat. Let's see here. So he had 4 targets. Cortland Sutton had 11. It's nice to see Sutton get back into double-digit performance. Jerry Jeudy had the ankle injury. That's right. KJ Hamler had 3 targets. So, if I'm not mistaken, outside of Sutton, Greg Dulcich was the next most targeted player. Looks like Melvin Gordon had 6 targets. I don't know. I read some crazy stat about Greg Dulcich's usage. But, anyways, he gets Las Vegas in Week 11. I say we give Greg Dulcich another chance. But if you're not confident, then go with Njoku. Njoku or Dulcich for sure. Foster Moreau's got a pretty decent matchup too. Definitely someone you can take a look at. Hurst and Knox. I mean, actually, I like Hayden Hurst too. Not a high ceiling, but Hurst is fine. I mean, Richie, the good news is you got lots of good options. I don't really trust Dawson Knox, unfortunately. Someone I loved in the offseason who just hasn't done it for me here in the regular season. But we'll see what happens with Goddard. But I think you definitely have good options. Dulcich and Njoku or Hurst for me are the players you can trust the most. If Goddard and Cup are hurt, there goes my best ball shares. I think Goddard has a stronger chance to be okay. Cup's going to miss some time for sure. Do you think Bengals will have a good day against Pittsburgh's defense, or will they have a bad day? I think it's hard to tell. I mean, Burrow's had some bad games against the Steelers in the past, right? In 2021, 17.4 points in Week 12 and 18.5 in Week 3. But those were like, even though he threw 3 touchdowns and then 1 touchdown, he had a lot of turnovers between those 2 games last year. But Week 1 of this season, when TJ Watt was active, he still had 20.2 fantasy points. But once again, 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles in that game. It's like Steelers are like Burrow's kryptonite. overall, I think they'll be productive on the day, but just don't be surprised if there are some turnovers. Is Goddard hurt? I mean, he got a little bit banged up on the play where he fumbled, but I don't know. I don't know the exact status, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't panic on Goddard, but oh, Goddard was back out there the next drive. Okay, the Goddard's good. Never mind. Let's see here. Andrea, hello. Let's see. If Mike Williams comes back, is he a start? Yes, because they play the Chiefs, and that game's going to be an offensive shootout. So, sure. But in the flex, no more. Should I be worried about Justin Fields' playoff schedule? I don't know if I'm even worried at this point. Like, I don't think he's going to... I don't know. He had 26 points against the Cowboys. You know? He had 24 against New England. He's moved up to quarterback 3. Can you guys believe that? Like, in the matter of 3 or 4 weeks, he has surpassed everyone except Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes. Joe Burrow had a bye week. Lamar Jackson had a bye week too. Kyler Murray was out. Those are some big factors there. But regardless, I mean, just the fact that Fields has moved up into that category is impressive, you know? Should you be worried? Philadelphia, Buffalo, Detroit. Philadelphia didn't exactly stand up to Taylor Heineke tonight. Buffalo didn't exactly stand up to Captain like that Kirk Cousins. And then he gets Detroit in Week 17. There's reason to be worried. We've talked about it for the last couple of weeks, right? But if that's who you got to roll with, I say you just roll with them, you know? I mean, would we be worried about Josh Allen or Joe Burrow? I mean, I'm not exactly saying he's those quarterbacks, but it looks like Fields is a QB1 in fantasy for sure, so I don't know if I'm worried, man. Let's see. Folk or Myers rest of season. Very close there. Very close. Give me Folk, but it's extremely close. I like both a lot. Myers had a little bit of a down week, but hold on. Give me Folk, but either are fine. Should I grab Hollywood Brown off waivers if you have the room to stash him? For sure. Ertz out for season confirmed. I thought it was only 6 weeks or so. Everything I saw is that it's confirmed he's out for the year, but let me double check. Yeah, done for the season as of 5 hours ago. I hate that, man. I love Zach Ertz. All right. James Conner is quite the buy low ad for sure, man. For sure. I held on to him this whole time in my double quarterback league, and we only have 4 bench spots. I was getting kind of close to like I've been hurting at RB2. I had Barkley at RB1, but then I had like some bye weeks. You know, I had Barkley's bye week. I had weeks where Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert had their bye weeks. I was like hurting my bench. And I'm glad I held on to him. Trade AJ Brown for CeeDee Lamb. Dude pissed me off tonight. I mean, that's fine. Like, I think the advantage to CeeDee Lamb is, you know, that team isn't going to be structured the same way as the Eagles, where like they're running a lot in the second half and they're closing out games, even though that could start to change in the second half of the season. And there's probably less targets all around in terms of the Cowboys offense as opposed to Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, et cetera, for the Eagles. And even Jalen Hurts just taking away a lot of production because he does Jalen Hurts things. So if you're really that upset, then yeah, I don't think it's going to kill your season. I may try to trade Goddard to the Ertz owner this week, then would be the perfect opportunity. Yeah, I like that. You got Kelsey finally, yeah. All right, I only have to drop 1 player to try to get all 3 players. I have an open wide receiver spot, open flex spot, and I have to drop Ertz. Well, that kind of helps you because you're another guy who has more than 1 tight end. Derek, would you trade Dameon Pierce for Justin Fields, where if you rush or receive over 100 yards, you get 10 extra points? Also, if you score a 40 more yard touchdown, you get 4 extra points. If you score a 50 more yard touchdown, you get 5. It depends on who your other quarterback is and what your running back room is going to look like, Derek. But I definitely consider it. But I will say that I think that some of this rushing upside and rushing production will start to trend slightly downward for Justin Fields. You know, he had 2 phenomenal matchups the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, Detroit, well, I guess Miami, not really phenomenal. He just kind of balled out there. So, yeah, it depends what other running backs, quarterbacks you have, but I consider it. I mean, we just talked about how he's the quarterback 3 right now in fantasy. It'll probably be a top 5 after next week as well. Thoughts on Terrace Marshall rest of the season? Perfectly fine flex option, but the main concern, like, he's in the top 40 this week for sure. It'll probably continue to be, but the main concern is PJ Walker's not going to play in week 11. He had some better chemistry, I think, overall with Terrace Marshall. And Baker's going to get the start. Baker and him connected for a touchdown in week 9, so we'll just have to kind of sit back and see what happens there. But I just want to, it's just tough when you have a quarterback constantly changing, you know, to establish that chemistry. But he'll be a flex option, full PPR. I think that's about it. Should I trade JT for AJ Brown in standard? I already have Kenneth Walker and Pierce. I would say no. Hold on to that running back depth. Hold on to the running back position. I say no. Getting offered Fields and Devon Smith for AJ Brown, but I'm tempted, but my wide receivers are quite ragtag without him. Yeah, he gains a ton of upside and good consistency at quarterback. One of the hottest names in fantasy right now. And you get a boomer bust player in Devonta Smith, who I like a lot, but still a boomer bust player. And you replace AJ Brown. If your other receivers aren't good, you got a lot to consider there. Trey McLaurin's been a fine wide receiver one. Would you trade Lazard, Foreman, and Palmer for Lamb? No, I think that's too much. You're buying high. He's selling high, you're buying high. I mean, Foreman's coming off a huge game. Palmer and Lazard had down weeks, but overall in the season they're playing fine. Lamb had a really good week. I wouldn't. You should at least be getting one more player out of this, in my opinion. I'm not looking at 1 week. I'm looking at the whole season. I traded away Goddard and Khalil Herbert for Andrews last week. Win or L? 5-5. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Good upgrade at tight end. Evans, Lockett, or Sutton rest of the season? Probably, I would put them in that exact order. Evans, Lockett, then Sutton. Juan, what's going on? Would you trade CMC and Lamb for Henry and Diggs? I'd rather have CMC than Henry, as good as Henry is. I'd rather have Diggs than Lamb, as good as Lamb is. So I don't mind the trade, but you just got to look at it, and you're going to get more upside, in my opinion, at running back with CMC and more upside at receiver with Diggs. So you kind of have to look at it that way. Would you rather have the upside at running back or receiver? Caleb, what a week. Who should I start next week, Burrow or Fields? I go Fields for sure. Fields gets Atlanta. Burrow gets Pittsburgh. Burrow's not historically played his best football against Pittsburgh. And Fields looks like he's going to have another field day. I might also be able to get Waddle for Lazard, Foreman, Palmer. Who would you like more, Waddle or Lamb? It's very close, but I'm going to go Waddle. Yeah, I'm going to go Waddle. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's your wide receiver 8. Waddle's your wide receiver 6. It's close. Let's take a look at schedule. CeeDee Lamb gets Minnesota, the Giants, Indy, Houston, Jacksonville, Philly, Tennessee. Not a lot of bad. There's just like kind of question games in there. Like teams that have played well against receiver position at times, maybe haven't played well on the season. Waddle, on the other hand. Going to see Houston, San Fran, the Chargers, Buffalo, Green Bay, New England. Once again, kind of tough matchups, but you just feel like with both those players, it doesn't really matter. Very close between the two, but both are pretty equal value in my opinion. Pray, did you like the trade I did Geno and J-Rob for Herbert? Wasn't against it per se. Herbert's got a really promising upcoming schedule, but the problem with Herbert is I don't know. He's struggling right now. This team is struggling. The defense, for once, actually played pretty well, but the offense just couldn't keep up. Palmer does not look like a true number one receiver. Like I'm not going to count like the game against Atlanta. He played well in Week 6 against Denver. I'll give him that, but he wasn't the number one receiver that week. he got one of the worst teams in the league in Atlanta in Week 9 at 18.6 fantasy points, 106 receiving yards. I don't know. I just feel like Palmer is getting a lot of opportunities, not doing the most with them. I do feel like DeAndre Carter is helping out this team. But you just can't rely on those two. And then Gerald Everett also got banged up, you know? So it's like literally all on Eckler because you're RB1 in PPR. Herbert's just struggling, man. The offensive line doesn't look good. The offense doesn't look in sync. But he gets Kansas City, Arizona, Las Vegas, Miami, and Tennessee in the coming weeks. All good matchups. Tennessee, I don't know. But the next, Kansas City, Arizona, Las Vegas, Miami, very, very favorable at the quarterback position. So that's the bright side. But if we're going off how the season has gone up to this point, then the trade's close, man. You're going kind of for some upside. But I'm not totally against it, bro. How do you feel about starting B-Rob this week? B-Rob looked good. And we got an injury to Gibson. We'll have to see what his status looks like. But, yeah, either way, I mean, even if Gibson's healthy, Gibson's not healthy, they get the Houston Texans. Fire him up. Texans can't guard a running back to save their life. Aaron Reborn, someone has offered me Justin Fields and Mixon for Hurts. What do you think? Also, another trade I'd give Fournette and Goddard for Henry. What do you think? Wow. Wow. Jalen Hurts moves back to quarterback 6. It's still a 23.3 fantasy points. I mean, so you could potentially flip Hurts and Fournette and end up with Fields, Mixon, and Henry. If you feel good about it, I say go for it. Is it smart to start Jamal Williams this week? I mean, he can flex him every week, but he's got a tougher matchup this week than he's had in the past 2-ish weeks. But you can always flex Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift. They're just capping each other's ceiling on a weekly basis, you know. So I just got really confused because I clicked on Jameson Williams and not Jamal Williams, and I was like, when did Jamal Williams get hurt? You know, 11.9 in week 10, 10.1 in week 9, 22.6 in week 8. You can always flex Jamal Williams, but the Giants are a tougher matchup than Chicago, for sure. So, and then Swift is going to take some value as well. But you can always flex them. How do you feel about starting Palmer next week, full PPR? I don't love it. I just don't trust Palmer. You know? But it is a good matchup. I'll give him that. It's a good game script and a good matchup in theory, so if you have to start him, it's fine. Is McCole Hardman a drop in 10 teams? Also, is Randall Robinson. I wouldn't drop McCole Hardman personally unless you need, like, have everyone on bye, you have injuries, and you need to make a decision. That's one thing. But if you're able to just hold him, no, I wouldn't drop him. But I would drop Randall Robinson. That's fine. Darius Slayton is a player who stepped up there at the wide receiver position. What should I do about Kittle? Well, Kittle is a boomer bust guy. You know, like, when he's booming, he's booming, you know? But he's going to have these stretches where he has 12 to 21 fantasy points like he had week 6 through 8. He's going to have these stretches where he gives you 3 points and 5 points. But he gets Arizona in week 11. They're the second. Actually, I think they moved up to the worst team in the league. They've been flopping with the Seahawks, but the Seahawks actually played okay against Kate Otten and company. So I think Arizona is back to the worst team in the league against tight ends. And if they're not, they're number 2. So they just gave up like 15 fantasy points to Tyler Higbee. I would keep Kittle in your starting lineups this week. I don't trust DJ Moore with Baker quarterback. I don't either, Andrea. That was fun when it looked like the Panthers were productive again. I feel like I only trust Foreman right now. Would you drop A.J. Dillon to pick up Garrett Wilson? Yes, I would. I would. Thoughts on moving Mark Andrews standard league? You can. It just depends who you can get. You know, when healthy, the only better tight end is going to be Kelsey. Rank my flex options for this upcoming week. Goddard if healthy, Devonta or Deontay. It's tough here. Because you just don't know what you're going to get out of Devonta Smith. You just don't know. Goddard, Devonta, Deontay. But, I mean, I basically would go... I mean, I might just go Goddard here. But you just don't get a crazy high ceiling out of Goddard because he's playing with the tight end position. Then Devonta gives you that boomer bust. Deontay gives you that floor. So it's tough. But it depends on if you want to play for a ceiling with a little bit of risk in Devonta Smith, or a floor in Deontay, or a floor in Goddard, but a little bit of a better ceiling. It's pretty close there. My team is 6-4 in a 12-man PPR. Geno and Deshaun, Chubb, Swift, Pollard, Warren, J.K. Dobbins, Amari, Godwin, Sutton, Landry, Andrew. Should I be looking to make any moves? I'll keep your quarterback tandem. I'll keep Chubb and Swift and Pollard. I'll keep Amari, Godwin, and Sutton. It's just tough because there's not a lot of moves you can really make. Because like Warren and J.K. Dobbins are basically just committee / handcuff guys, you know? It's not like Landry's bringing any value, but or trade value, that is. So if you do a trade, you're going to have to move someone like Chubb and or like Swift or Amari or Godwin, and it's like you have to get equal value in return, and if you do a 2-for-1, it hurts your roster too much. So if I were you, 6-4 is still playoff potential for sure, or depending on your points scored and your league standings, you could still be easily going to the playoffs right now. So it just kind of depends. If I were you, I'd probably just hold and continue to play the waiver wire. Should I start Swift or Curtis Samuel in full PPR? How did Curtis Samuel in the night? Just 6 fantasy points. Disappointing day. Houston's played pretty well against position. I'd probably go Swift personally, but Samuel's fine. King Marcelo, what's up, man? 3-7, lost 6 straight. Shake my head. They're gonna trade away Swift for Pickens and Foreman. Yeah, if you need to win now, go get some pieces. Why not? Aaron Reborn, I have Kelsey in my tight end spot. If I make both trades, my team would be Justin Fields, Eckler, Henry, Kupp, Olave, Kelsey. My flex options are Claypool, Herbert, Monty, Thielen. Looks pretty good to me, but the only thing to consider is that Kupp's going to miss some time. But yeah, if you feel good about it, I'm not totally against it, but I do think that Hurts is still going to finish in the top 5. Really tough there, deciding between Hurts and Fields. Let me check one thing. All right, let's see. Oh, you'd have Joe Mixon at flex. The only thing to consider is you need a receiver to help out Olave. It's not going to be Claypool. So you'd be starting Thielen until Kupp's back. But the rest of the team would look really good. Let's see. You think Fields is a top 5 fantasy QB? I mean, he is right now. He's QB3. But we had Kyler out. We had Burrow on bye. We had Jackson on bye. So it's close. But he could finish in the top 5. I don't think it's crazy. Grant, not sure if you saw me respond picks my team in the Discord chat. Let me see, bro. Let me check. Oh, my bad, man. All right, so I get Pittman and James Conner, receiver Mondre Stevenson. And at the moment, so let's take a look here. You got Eckler, Etienne, and Walker. Then on your bench, you've got Connor and Pollard. Receiver, you got Diggs, McLaurin, Sutton, Pittman, Palmer, Mike Williams on IR. So overall, I don't think it hurts you to lose. I would do the trade. And I mean, Connor looks good is the only thing to consider, Only thing to consider. But you got Eckler, Etienne, Walker. It hurts your receiver depth a little bit, but this team is built off running backs. I mean, it's very close, but I'd rather have Ramondre ultimately. I think it's good. I think it's a good trade. Is DPJ worth a stash? Been pretty consistent with Watson coming back. Could be upside. Yeah. I love DPJ and PPR. I've been saying it for weeks. He's been on every waiver wire video. Yeah. I just got offered Mark Andrews for Evans and Fearmouth. Got Waddle, Olave, Pittman, Jerry, Boyd, Tony, Devonta Smith. That one's close. That one's close. Fearmouth is your tight end 9 on the season. Doesn't bring a crazy high ceiling. But he's still playing good. Mark Andrews has a good chance to play in week 11. Gotta imagine he'll bounce back, right? I mean, you have enough receivers to make the trade, so if you feel good about it, that's fine. Is Bucs defense worth holding on to, or just drop and use that spot for someone else? If you're rostering 2 defenses, you can drop them. Move Mark Andrews. Who can I target in a standard league? I mean, frankly, just about anyone. Believe it or not, Mark Andrews is still your tight end 2 in full PPR. Your tight end 3 in standard. So go look at teams, especially if they lost Zach Ertz. Go fishing, man. I mean, you can offer Andrews for just about anyone in a standard league, man. Justin Fields or Joe Burrow next week? I would go Fields, personally. Burrow hasn't historically played great football against the Steelers, and Fields has a good matchup against Atlanta. Let's see here. 10-man happy PPR. Drop Treylon Burks considering his awful upcoming schedule. Yeah, in my opinion, if you need to pick up someone else, drop him. Should I trade Geno and Foreman for Fields? Yes, if it doesn't hurt your roster. Derek, my QB is Cousins. My other running backs are Kamara, Mitchell, Carter, Elijah Mitchell, and Kyron Williams. Oh, no. I lost the first part. Okay, so Pierce for Fields, right? All right, hold on, Derek. Okay. So you lose Pierce. You'd have Kamara, Carter, Mitchell, Kyron Williams. You swap. Well, you don't swap Cousins, but you'd be starting. Oh, gosh, it's close. I feel like I'd want to keep Damian Pierce, Derek. Because I feel like Kamara, Carter, Mitchell, and Kyron Williams is just not enough. Do you think that the scoring format in your league makes you lean towards Fields enough? You let me know. It's close. What value should I look for Fields in a trade? Hat PPR records 5-5. Lamar, Hopkins, Godwin, Chubb, JT, Kelsey, Lockett, Juju, Ricard White, Sutton, Gallup, Hubbard. Guys, if you're looking to trade Fields, sell him high right now. I mean, I think Fields is going to finish out the season very strong, but I really do think this is probably going to be your highest opportunity to sell him. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's got a really good matchup in Week 11. So, like, I just think this window of, like, these 40-point games could start to come down when he gets the Jets, Green Bay, a bye week, Philly, and Buffalo before he gets... I mean, the main reason you're holding on to Justin Fields is because he gets Detroit again in Week 17, the Fantasy Championship. But he's your quarterback 3 in fantasy right now. He has 2 40-point performances in a row. Burrow's coming back off the bye. Jackson's coming back from the bye. Kyler Murray's going to start playing again. I don't know how much longer Justin Fields is going to be quarterback 3. Could he finish as a top 5 or top 6? Absolutely. But I think this window of being able to sell him for like any player you want, almost any player you want, depending on teams out there, is going to close. So if you want to sell him high, do it right now. Would you try Goddard for Amari Cooper and Cooks? I don't really need Cooks, but Cooper's been pretty great. So I feel like it's reasonable since the other owner had Ertz. Yeah, that's a fair trade. Coop is like a top 12 receiver. That's fair. Is Titans a good defense to keep for Week 11? Do I try the Commanders? Titans get the Packers on Thursday Night Football. Commanders get the Texans. I might go the Commanders. Both are fine, but I might go the Commanders. I mean, what did Washington finish with tonight? 17 points. They're still defense 28 on the year. Don't let them fool you. But I might go with them against Houston. Jeff Saturday's the man, J-Dubs. Eli Mitchell had 18 rushing attempts. Yeah, according to Kyle Shanahan, no surprise, him and CMC are going to split time. Foster, Moreau, or Pitts this week? Probably Moreau. I just hate Pitts. I do. I know it's a tough matchup for Foster Moreau, but do you feel any more confident in Pitts? I don't. Are you trading Cup for Chase straight up? I'm 7-3, but I have to use Kadarius Toney or Curtis Samuel until Cup is back. Well, if you do the trade, you're going to have to use them until Chase is back, so it just depends. I think I would wait because we need to get a clear diagnosis on Cup. I've heard some different things, like this could be 2 to 4 weeks, or this could be bad. So I would wait. Don't do it quite yet. We want to see a reading on Cup there. Who'd you start this week, Foreman or Patterson? I'd probably start Foreman. Patterson's got a good matchup against the Bears. Foreman gets the Ravens. Patterson's got the better matchup, but it's close. Andrew, have a good night. A.J. Brown or Eli Mitchell in the flex? I still go A.J. Brown. Would you do Gabe Davis and JT for Amon Ra? Oh, that's too much. That's too much. That's too much, Ron. What's up, Ron? What's up, Zachary? I mean, the way JT played this past week and the way Gabe Davis and JT side wins. Do you drop Eagles defense for Steelers? That's fine, but it's still close. The Eagles defense are going to have plenty of good games. Steelers defense will have good games too. Lost Ertz this week. Should I trade Swift and Jamal for Hawkinson and Rashad White? Swift and Jamal were competing for the last flex spot. If you don't want the headache of the Lions running backs, then it's a fair trade. Yeah, it's a fair trade. But if you want to, I mean, like if one or the other goes down, you get a clear-cut RB1. But if Jamal Williams goes down, then like you still have the uncertainty of Swift's injury. So if you want to move on, it's a fair trade, sure. Any moves you do for this roster? Have PPR, Hurts, A.J. Brown, J.J. Barkley, Pollard, Kittle, Amon Ra, Jeff Wilson, Olave, Carter, Rondo, Moore, and Everett. Currently 7-3. No. This is a good team. I know A.J. Brown let you down tonight, but J.J. Barkley, Pollard, Kittle, St. Brown, Wilson, Olave, Carter. No, I mean, obviously at tight end, you're hurting. You got to go. Well, not really, because you got Kittle. Ryan, it's a good squad, man. 7-3 for a reason. I keep it that way. I like this squad, man. Another weekend win, finally moving up the ranks, 4-6 from 1 to 6 when I started watching. Let's go, Santos. I love to hear that, bro. Let's go, man. When do you think Chase is coming back? If I told you an answer, I would be lying, man. I mean, I haven't seen any clear-cut updates on Chase. Not expect to go on IR, but that's still all we know, man. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I knew. So happy I dropped Higbee for Komet this week. Thanks as always, my dude, for sure, bro. And Higbee still had a really good game, but part of that was due to the matchup. But he'll have some productive games, especially with Cup going down. But Komet held that upside, man. Let's go. Jacob, 10-man half PPR. Who's the better overall pick off waivers, Watson or Pacheco? Close. Both are going to bring some inconsistency. You know? Depends. Do you need a receiver or running back more? What do you need more depth at? Should I trade Tony for Debo? I'd consider it. Yeah. Just had the biggest loss of my fantasy football career was Rondo, Moore, and Debo Samuel for Allen Lazard and Pitts. I have Everett as my only tight end. He is out. Yikes. Yikes. DPJ or DJ Moore next week? Damn you, Baker. I go DPJ. Not as good of a ceiling, but I go DPJ. C-Crip, I got a question. Should I pick up Christian Watson, start him over Devonta Smith, Thielen, and Gus Edwards next week? Tyreek is on bye. You can pick him up. You should still start Devonta Smith, though. And probably Thielen. I'm not sure if you want to start Gus Edwards right out the gate. I mean, I don't know what to do with this Ravens backfield ever. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He's got a good matchup, but is Kenyon Drake going to get more touches? I don't know. Yeah, you can pick up Watson, but you still have some decent options here for sure. Just got offered Diggs for Kamara, Foreman, and Higgins. My running backs are Stevenson, Eli Mitchell. My receivers are Hill and DPJ. Well, you need a receiver, but that's still too much to give up, Richie. As good as Diggs is, you should be able to get one more player out of that. Dick, I will keep Pierce. I just feel like you need that running back depth. Don't you kind of agree? Fields would be nice in that scoring format, but I feel like you need Pierce on your team. 10-man half PPR is Cortland Sutton droppable. And half PPR in a 10-man, there might be better options with more upside. Mike Williams, Eli Mitchell, or Rondale Moore. I go Rondale Moore. Mike Williams, if he plays against the Chiefs Sunday Night Football at home, we'll have to wait on that one. It might be Mike Williams for me. It's close there. But Rondale Moore has been balling out, man. He does get the Niners, though. It's kind of a tough matchup. The Lions' backfield gives me a headache every week trying to decide. Part of me thinks even if Jamal goes down, they won't give Swift all the work. Yeah, that could be true. That could be true. Gosh. Why can't I think of his name? Wait, Justin Jackson's on the Lions? I'm thinking of... Oh, Craig Reynolds has a rib injury. That's who I was thinking of. I don't know Justin Jackson was on the Lions. Well, Justin Jackson and Craig Reynolds are viable third-string running backs. Would you look into picking A-Rob up with Cup out for the season more than likely? Yes, Big Trev. A-Rob's going to see some volume for sure. What's he going to do with it? I don't know, but the volume should be there. But I hope they do because then Swift would be a top 10 at least. Oh, I agree. But I don't know if they're ever going to give Swift that volume again. I don't know. Jeff, my team is Geno, Kirk, Saquon, Eckler, Patterson, Foreman, Amon-Ra, Lazard, Hollywood, Judy, Palmer, Pickens, Kelsey. Is Lazard and Foreman for Lamb or Waddle too much? So that would leave you with Saquon, Eckler, Patterson, Amon-Ra, Hollywood, Judy, Palmer, but you gain Waddle or Lamb. No, it's not too much. It's not too much. No, it's not. But keep in mind, if you trade for Waddle, he's on bye week this coming week in week 11. But no, not too much. Ryder, what's up, man? I was relying on a combined 2 points more from McLaurin and Hurts to win. Yikes. That sucks, man. Another note, Skol, Vikes, and Go Commanders. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I have Burrow and Fields. Should I hold on to both or trade one? I would personally keep both and play them based off matchup. So I personally keep both. Especially with Fields playing Detroit in Week 17, the fantasy matchup. Or fantasy championship. All right, guys. I'm going to wind things down here in the next minute or two. So make sure you guys get your questions in if you guys need anything. But we hit an hour, and I got to edit tomorrow's video. And I got to do a couple things around the house before bed. So get your guys' questions in here, and we'll wrap up the stream. I have Pitts. I have Njoku on IR. If Njoku gets back, should I activate Njoku and play Pitts? Plus, do you think Njoku plays this week? Njoku definitely has a shot to play, but we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens there. I mean, I'd rather start a healthy Njoku than Pitts. You guys should know I just have no faith in Kyle Pitts. But I'd rather start Njoku. Should be a good game script against the Bills. But Pitts always has a chance to score. It's just, he only does it like every 3 or 4 weeks. Katie, what's going on? Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Welcome to the Catch fam. I have Murray and D-Hop. If I pick up Hollywood, could I start all 3 when Hollywood is healthy? In my opinion, yes, because the Cardinals are continuously in game scripts where they need to throw the football. And, I mean, as good as Rondale Moore has been, like, those are the 2 guys that Kyler Murray wants to connect with, and Zach Ertz is now out on the season, so I don't even feel like it's too much even with Rondale Moore in the picture. So just keep in mind, if the Cardinals have a bad week, your fantasy team's going to have a bad week. But I feel like there's enough production out of those 3 players when healthy that you'll be okay. Yeah. Especially with the game scripts that the Cardinals constantly find themselves in. Richie, thank you. Jeff, thank you. Paul, should Corey Davis come back week 11? Do you like him as a flex? I currently have Mooney. I like Mooney more. Corey Davis always has a shot to give you some production at the flex, but I like Mooney more. Ryan, should I try and trade for Chase with my roster? I said earlier, yes. Yeah, you're chilling, man. I mean, you're gonna hit the playoffs. You got a good squad. Don't give up too much because I mean, you got JJ, AJ Brown, Olave, Rondale Moore, and Amon-Ra. Yeah, I'm not against it, bro. I'm not against it. Ryder just hit 325 on bench. Let's go. I love to hear it. Gains in the house. How do you feel about starting Sutton this week in full PPR? I mean, that's about the only scoring format we can start him. It's a good matchup against the Raiders. He played well with a good matchup against the Tennessee Titans, but I don't expect a high ceiling. You know, 12 or 13 points if he scores a little bit more. Should I start Palmer or Curtis Samuel? I guess Palmer. Should I trade Dameon Pierce for Watson and Jamal Williams? Trevor Lawrence starting QB. Singletary is your RB2. I would keep Dameon Pierce if Devin Singletary is your RB2. And, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, say what you want about him, is what, quarterback 8 in fantasy? Quarterback 9. He's on bye week this week, but it's not like he can start Watson this week. So, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has some really favorable matchups coming up. Baltimore, Detroit, a bad matchup against Tennessee, an iffy matchup against Dallas, the Jets and Houston. I don't know. I'd probably hold, I mean, I get it. Deshaun Watson looks better on paper, but I'd probably hold Trevor Lawrence, mainly because Dameon Pierce can be a better RB1 than Jamal Williams, who has DeAndre Swift capping his upside on a regular basis. Drop Kyron for Eli Mitchell. Kyron looked good, but San Francisco seems like a split backfield. I'd rather have Eli Mitchell, but any Rams running back can pop at any minute, so it's tough. I have Burrow. I stream Jimmy G. I can drop Jimmy G now. Yes, you can ride Burrow the rest of the season. Good, bad, and ugly. Take all of Burrow for sure. Ghost Hunter 7-3 now after starting 0-2 thanks to streams like this. Let's go, baby. Love to hear that. Perfect note to end the stream on. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out, talking to me about week 10, talking to me about week 11. Thank you guys for all the fantasy questions, for hopping in the chat, keeping the fantasy conversation going. I've got week 11 waiver wire must adds out for you guys. Keep in mind, I called Rachaad White. I called Isaiah Pacheco, Isaiah Pacquiao, and I got grilled for it, even though I've been doing that all season. It just so happened now was time people decided to grill me. But anyways, I've got my waiver wire video out for you guys. Steven's got week 11 must start defenses. Defenses is a stream for you guys. So make sure you guys go check out the videos for the week so far. And I will have some content coming at each position for you guys this week. I also released 2 videos last week. Most favorable playoff schedules for running backs and quarterbacks. I'll be working on receivers and tight ends in the coming week or so. So go check out those videos when you guys have time as well. I thought it was a pretty cool series I threw together for you guys as well. So let's see. Let me wrap things out. I haven't Njoku on my bench. Should I trade him or keep him in case Kelsey goes down? I wouldn't flex him over Mooney at the moment, but you can hold on to him in case Kelsey goes down, you know, but I wouldn't flex him at the moment. Can you tell Underdog to let Pick'ems in Tennessee? I will do my best, TCT. I'll love that for you. Is Aaron Jones' injury serious or no? Let me take a double glance there. He's got a shin issue. Not a good matchup in week 11 against Tennessee. It is I mean, I don't know if it's a serious injury, but it's a Thursday night matchup is the bigger issue if you own Jones. Appreciate you, Ron. Gibson or B-Rob, week 11 or both? Both. But Gibson got a little banged up. So keep an eye on what happened to Gibson. I don't have an injury update, but he got banged up against the Eagles. But yeah, you could theoretically start both. Ryan, thank you for coming out, bro. Let's see here. Derek, I appreciate you, bro. We'll talk to you soon. Let's see. Let's see. Caleb, I would hold both, especially since Fields plays Detroit in the fantasy championship. Garrett Wilson over DPJ next week. I like DPJ, but Garrett Wilson's going to bring a higher ceiling theoretically. But DPJ has the better matchup. Both have pretty steep matchups. So Browns at Bills, Jets at Pats. It's close. Caleb, thank you for coming out, bro. Derek, I have Khalil Herbert too. Don't know if that changes anything. I don't personally feel like it does. I would hold Pierce, man. You need that running back value. In my eyes, it's close. Because in that scoring format, Fields would help, but I would hold Pierce, my dude. I would. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it, guys. Hit me up on Discord. If you're new to the channel, make sure to join our Discord. Links in the description down below. Hit me up on Discord. Hit me up on Instagram if you're new to the channel. Instagram links in the description down below. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Best places to reach us outside of the YouTube comment section and the live streams if you guys need anything. Like I said, must-start defenses for Week 11 are out. Waiver wire video for Week 11 is out. And I will have plenty of content coming your guys' way for the rest of the week as well. I'll be on tomorrow night for you guys, so I'll let you guys know when I'm hopping on. And that'll do it for tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the Catch fam. Smash that like button on the way out for me. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Everyone have a great Tuesday. I appreciate you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Love you guys. Everyone be safe. And with that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And